The S68 is back for 2026, which means we get 617 horsepower, 3.7 seconds 0 to 60. This is a supercar in an SUV with 8.4 inches of clearance. But why would you choose the X5 M Competition? I'm Anthony from Supercar Throttle, and we love bringing these type of vehicles to the channel because it's full performance. This is in Brooklyn Gray Metallic over Shakir Orange, black full extended leather. The front, it's going to have the most aggressive stance. For 2027, they're going to change it. It's going to be off the neue klasse platform. But BMW is stressing that it's still going to be as athletic as this. It kind of gives me a reason why I would go this route though, because you're kind of gambling, because a lot of people don't necessarily like the front fascia because that grille on a standard X5 is a lot smaller and it's integrated lower than higher up. I like the styling of the lights that we've seen through the spy videos, but this is already getting shadow line lights, full LED for the front, glossy black on the low. House underneath the hood is what's special because it's not just 617 horsepower, it's also 553 pound-feet of torque, and it's getting a top speed at 155 to 177 miles per hour. Now, the reason why I say this is a supercar lifted up is when you have a 4.4 liter V8 twin turbo that has a near 50-50 weight distribution, there's no rear axle steering here, so all that garbage is thrown away. You have 6 pistons in the front, a vented slotted disc that's 15.6 inches and 15-inch in the rear with a single floating caliper, 21-inch up front. This is a staggered wheel setup at a 295/35 with the black star-styled design M wheel. And the rear gets a 315/30 22-inch out back. Well, I mean, it explains everything in detail. Comparing this against Audi, the RS Q8 Performance. That is my favorite variant compared to this. I like it a little bit better than the Mercedes because when you go AMG 63, I like them, don't get me wrong. We got a lot of videos that's going to be coming on this channel as well as Hawkeye Rides. We got a ton of them. It's just, you're paying a lot more money for Mercedes. When you go into Audi, you're getting a detuned Lamborghini Urus engine more or less. So that's what makes it special. What makes this special is because it has a cross pattern exhaust manifold. The turbochargers are placed within the V, so it has basically no lag at all at any speeds, and that has 6 radiators and 4 water pumps underneath the hood to give optimal cooling for that track performance, and yet it's still a daily vehicle if you can fork out nearly $140,000. Now, I'm not saying that Audi and Mercedes doesn't make a performance madhouse vehicle, because on the 0 to 60s, it's going to be questionable at who's faster and this and that, especially off the launch. But dynamically speaking, this is going to be better if you are going on a circuit, meaning you're taking bins on the road. Standard LED taillights, the lower gets the glossy black elements, quad exhaust tips with the diffuser, front and rear parking sensors with the standard 360-degree reverse camera. We have the driver professional assist package, which means it will partially drive for you without you being engaged. So you can let go of the steering wheel using the adaptive cruise control, and it'll go about 0.2 to 0.3 miles reading the road for you on the front, the sides. So that way you're kind of taken care of for that longer journey, making this a more practical family vehicle. But again, if you're at a near $140,000 price point. But let us know your thoughts in the comments because it definitely helps with the engagement of the channel. Click the subscribe button, the like button, because all the clicks and interactions that you do with the channel will help improve us so we can bring more performance vehicles to Supercar Throttle and more variants and reviews to the channel. $617 horsepower. My MC20 has 621. Look at this thing. Now you know what I mean by supercar lifted up. And look at the exit. Wow. Once it finds the gear, which is not difficult, you just tap the gas pedal because there's so much power underneath the hood of this thing, so much cooling going on, 6 radiators, 4 water pumps. You're not gonna get that with an M60i. Yes, you're gonna get a detuned S68 engine that has the same torque, but 523 horsepower. And yes, they do have a plug-in hybrid that has 483 horsepower also, and you get some electric range, but this by far is going to be the best in class for the X5 models. The reason why I say that is because this is full track drive. You're not getting any of that rear axle steering that you're getting with the M60i. 375 horsepower for an X5 is actually pretty good. I mean, it's enough. You're gonna get a 0 to 60 in the 5-second margin. That's great. But this takes it a step further if you can unlock or pay 140 grand, basically, is what we're stickered at today. In doing that, you're gonna have all that fun blended in an SUV, more athletic, more dynamic. The sound deadening is still great. The seats are comfortable. The ride is gonna be more rigid, but this is literally going to be a supercar for a fraction of the price, and you can get this on insurance without hardly any issues. Whereas when you go supercar, it's almost impossible. Braking is absolutely not a problem. I know we didn't do nothing there, but still. I'll get to that in a second. Staggered wheel setup. You can still hear the exhaust filtering in. And what I was meaning by the brakes. We're gonna speed up just a touch. There's not really anyone behind us. Let's go over here so we can make sure. And I'm gonna show you what 6 pistons in the front and a single floating caliper in the rear does. Stop on a dime. And that's a 15.6-inch disc. It's vented slotted in the front, 15-inch disc in the rear. Now, the slotted rotor, that basically cools it off. So that's why this is more track derived. You also have a M adaptive tuned suspension, 4-wheel independent suspension. Maneuverability, you barely turn the steering wheel to move into a lane. And visibility is by far better, because when you start going into supercars, I mean, you can't see nothing. I can't see absolutely anything in the rear. I have to rely on a digital camera. Here, that's a con, because you don't have a digital rear view mirror. They don't even option something like that. This is a 2026. Now for 2027, this is gonna be cleaned up. We've already seen some of the images from the internet. If you haven't, you can just Google it and see, but they have a 10-inch heads-up display that runs from corner to corner, and it's gonna go there. They're still gonna have a central display from my understanding, but here, I mean, I don't like that everything's integrated here. I do like that we got a physical auto start stop off button, but even in sport mode or race mode, it still engages that, which is absolutely ridiculous. We're gonna change it into comfort and efficiency, so that way we can see the difference and immediately you don't hear anything, even with the active exhaust note turned on. The carbon fiber, I appreciate that. 22-way power seat adjustments and massaging seats. I mean, this is VIP on a track. Now, it's not all pros. The cons, everything has to still be done through this infotainment screen. It does have some glitch, especially with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is wireless, which is cool. I mean, that's pretty much normal in all vehicles. The nice thing, though, is it is 5G capabilities. And I would say the biggest sacrifice that you have going X5M Competition opposed to an M60i is you are sacrificing a little bit more in the drive quality. But the pedal is a lot more aggressive too. I mean, you just tap it. It does feel heavy until you are actually just tapping it a little bit, and then it just takes off. I mean, it's around 5,400 pound curb weight. I wouldn't pay for the upgraded Bowers & Wilkins sound system. It sounds nice, don't get me wrong. I just feel like it's a little bit of an overkill for the pricing. You could spend that somewhere else in the interior or exterior of the vehicle. I like that it does have standard 360-degree reverse camera with the 3D view. And even in a normal or a comfort mode, that's what we're gonna show you right now, with the turn radius being about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. It's still fast. Now with lag, we're gonna slow down just a little bit here. And you can see the engagement is really good, and that's because the turbos are placed in between the V for the V8, which makes it have virtually zero lag. Now you do have adaptive cruise control with the lane steering assist or partial driving assist, which means you can do this for about 0.2 to 0.3 miles. Now what's gonna happen is it's going to engage here in a second. You see it's already telling me to put my hands on the steering wheel. I like this, how futuristic it looks. It should beep or do an alert. Hoping it's doing it sooner than later. Maybe not. There we go. Now it's telling me to take over the steering wheel, as you're noticing. But the good thing is it still applied the brake and it still was reading everything for me as I was doing that system. So it's not bulletproof and it's not like a Tesla, but you're not expecting that when you're going to this type of performance vehicle. That soundtrack though, from light to light, you definitely just get intoxicated by hearing it. Change the modes, put it into sport, tick up the RPM. No, didn't do anything at all. Does it change any of the driving habits? Not much. Really what you need to do if you want to do that is you got to change these modes here. Change it into sport, change that into sport for the chassis. You can do the steering, so it's going to make it a little bit tighter. You can do it for the braking as well. Now we're all sport mode. Yes, the engagement is a little bit different. As soon as I just touch the pedal, it's now engaging a lot more aggressive. It's staying at a higher RPM, so it's wanting me to feed it a little bit more. So even though there is some things that is not necessarily for feedback purposes, like the steering is going to be light, it still works, the system, the way it lays out, to give you that more performance, especially if you are taking it on the track. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check this next video out right here.